Welcome back to Sunday Supplement. Just a few more FA Cup third round ties this afternoon, including at Fratton Park, an intriguing one with Portsmouth taking on Arsenal. And talking of Arsenal, Miguel, Sam Dean in the Sunday Telegraph, rather scathing piece on Viktor Gyokeres. The headline is Gyokeres is one of the worst strikers in the league. Here's the data to prove it. Arsenal are top of the Premier League and Champions League tables, but many supporters are growing increasingly concerned about the performances of star striker Viktor Gyokeres, a £64 million signing. He pinpoints poor movement and unreliable touch, and it says it could be argued Gyokeres is occupying centre-backs, creating more space for other attackers, but the other strikers are now fit. So now Arteta will have a decision to make. Harsh or fair, this piece?
Well, to be fair to Sam, the piece is very fair and very measured. The headline is two-footed.
Yeah, and that's before you get the subtext, like unreliable touch, poor movement.
Look, you only have to look at the goal return. There's an issue there. I've done a lot of Arsenal this season. I was there on Thursday night, and Thursday night I think was the most pronounced for me in that there were 3 times that the ball flashed across the box. I think particularly from a Timber header back was the one that really stands out to me. And Gyokeres was nowhere near it. It felt like he was 5 yards behind the play. We've seen a lot of, classic number 9s from Ian Wright to Gary Lineker talk about how if you're a striker in that sort of situation, you've actually got to gamble on your movement to put yourself in there. That is obviously an issue, especially given Gyokeres was signed as a more traditional number 9, not someone necessarily to kind of for his pressing game or for other elements. I think another issue with him, especially if we're comparing him to kind of classic number 9s in that way, is that there's maybe been some frustration with Arsenal. When the ball goes up, it doesn't stick to him. And even you can sense, not so much on Thursday night, although it was a different sort of game. But when Gabriel Jesus came on in recent games, there's just a different energy about Arsenal. That it feels like he integrates into the team more. And look, some of it is down to the fact, I would say, that he's adapting to a higher level from the Portuguese league to the Premier League. It's a new country, but he is 27. One of the reasons he was signed, and this came out in some of the kind of discussion from within Arsenal in the summer, that it was to win now. But even that was interesting at the time, because in the build-up to this summer, which was kind of like the summer of number 9s, and it's interesting that a lot of them are actually struggling, which maybe says something about how number 9s are still developing in the modern game. But for pretty much 18 months, the word from Arsenal it was Sesko they were looking at. They'd done all the work on Sesko. That one of the reasons they were interested in Sesko as well is because, consistent with a lot of Arsenal's transfer recruitment, it was a player that could grow with the team, even if he wasn't the finished article. And now that did abruptly change in the summer, and I think there was even a surprise to other clubs that it was Gyokeres they went for and that Sesko was suddenly available. Yeah,
I think that's part of the switch to thinking win now. That's what this season's all about for Arsenal. All of the transfer business and the other stuff, it's this awareness of trying to win now, which is, Gyokeres. But Gyokeres was seen, as you say, as a guy that's going to win for you now, that's going to score you goals. His struggles haven't surprised me. I wrote about this in the summer, that the track record of those coming from Portuguese football goal scorers is pretty poor. Ricky van Wolfswinkel, 25 goals for Sporting Lisbon, I think 1 goal for Norwich, for example. Mario Jardel, you can go back. Brighton don't often get it wrong, and obviously they had Gyokeres and let him go. He's not one of the worst strikers in the league, though, because he's useful. He just doesn't look like a top club striker. But that Sam hasn't written he's one of the worst strikers in the league, as you say. Yeah. He's just blah, isn't he?
Jackie, picking up on the points that Miguel made there.
He wants to be blah.
About Gyokeres.
Yeah.
Higher level, new league. First time he's going to be playing at that level. All of those issues have been pointed towards Benjamin Sesko as well. And we're seeing signs now that Benjamin Sesko might just be coming up to speed. Is that something that Arsenal could look at and think, just give Gyokeres a bit of time? Because if you are top of the Premier League and top of the Champions League group into the last 4 of the Carabao Cup as well, with a striker who has been a regular, surely you can't carry somebody up front for the entire season, can you?
Yeah, I don't think they're carrying him as such, and it's a good piece by Sam, and he watches Gyokeres very, very closely on a very regular basis. And I thought the key line in there, with my Stato head on, was the fact that he didn't score a single header in scoring all his goals last season. 68 and 66 in the league for Sporting is incredible. So you can see why they brought him in. But I think the key thing here, bigger picture-wise, is the fact that everyone at Arsenal is terrified, right? Not terrible. No, they're not terrible. They're terrified of blowing it. They are absolutely... You could see that against Liverpool. And when those fabulous balls were played into the box, I screamed at my kids, like, Gary Lineker, Michael Owen would be absolutely attacking that space. There was no excuse. And I don't even care what level, even non-league.
Andy Gray, Jackie, there you go.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Absolutely. But you don't even have to be the most technically proficient footballer, surely, to know you have to attack that space. When you've got quality deliveries from the likes of Timber, and they've got quality players all over the field to deliver those balls in, that's what really concerned me more than anything else. But I think the reason his name's coming up so much, yes, the stats are really poor, but it's because they are terrified of blowing it now at this stage, when this is obviously the best chance since the Invincibles.
Yeah, just picking up on that, Miguel, Alison Rudd piece in the Sunday Times says Arsenal need to chill. A draw against the defending champions is not a disaster. A draw against the team with a cunning plan of action and some star names is no reason to gulp in despair. The forthcoming blast of 4 away matches that Arsenal have got in 4 different competitions, and there's even talk, could they... Well, look, they're going for the league, but could they do something extraordinary and maybe win multiple trophies? An unprecedented quadruple is even being whispered about at the moment. So should we need to dial it down a little bit and just say Arsenal are in a fantastic position here and they just need to realise that?
Oh, completely. But and actually, just as regards maybe doing something more, I think that's where the return of Kai Havertz could be so because he really gets what Arteta wants to do especially in terms of pressing and how crucial that is to the system. But in terms of like chilling, I suppose I did a piece on this during the week before the Liverpool game on a similar theme to Alisson actually. But I was looking back at some say, look, no one knows more about winning a title than Ferguson. Not to sound like other people who constantly go on about United in the 90s, but it was interesting looking at Ferguson's first autobiography and the way he spoke about it. In 92-93, he was talking about how the team felt under strain. And he sensed a certain agitation in the crowd. And it was because just of the fear of blowing and the memories even of 91, 92. And as he spoke about kind of the misery the fans felt at the disintegration of another title challenge. And it wasn't until they actually won it, there was a transformation of the team and a new authority, as he put it, in 93, 94. And I think there are echoes and lessons from this with Arsenal. I mean, I was looking at some of the kind of the discussion among big Arsenal fans who have like big media accounts or social media accounts or YouTube channels in the aftermath of Thursday's game, and there was a bit of a mention of the Emirates groan. I think, and you can feel it sometimes when you're in the stadium. Just if they don't start winning early, an angst starts to seep in. Now, in fairness, I sometimes think this can potentially even subconsciously affect the players. But in fairness, I suppose what Arsenal might say and what Arteta would maybe, and I understand this has been a little bit of a message in the dressing room of the past few days, that despite all of that, and despite the evident nerves they felt in some games leading up to Christmas, particularly the Everton one, the Wolves one, they were 2 points clear going into the Christmas schedule. They're now 6 points clear, despite all of this. And I do wonder whether, from all that very awkward win over Wolves and the way they won it could actually end up being one of the most significant moments of the season, especially as regards withstanding the kind of the psychological tests that are going to come.
Yeah.
They do have a very good run in at the very end. The last 4 games of the season are the games, in theory, football's not played in theory, but that they will look to that need to get over the hump of the bridge now and just stay at the top, because everyone's so intense. Arteta is one of the most intense managers. The dugout, the technical area, the set piece coach going nuts when they didn't win it with the last touch of the game against Liverpool. Everyone's so intense at Arsenal, and watching from the outside, you're kind of like, oh my God, everyone chill, as Ali Rudd says.
Willingness to win and a desperation.
Yeah, well, they need it. They need it. They do need it, and this is the season. But I still, sorry, Arsenal fans, wouldn't discount Manchester City and the fact they've just brought in the freshest guy, the guy to kind of light up the dressing room and the field and to score goals and assist as he did yesterday in Semenyo. I think that's going to really boost them.
The one thing about City in that sense as well, because they are the kind of everyone's wondering about whether that run comes, and obviously the last few weeks, and maybe checked, like I said, 3 draws in a row. But like, obviously, there's been a lot of focus on how much Arsenal have spent in the last 5 years. But it shouldn't be overlooked. That is to get to the level necessary. And even City, Marmoush maybe didn't work out as quite as expected. They've gone and signed Semenyo now. There's about 250 million worth of talent that City have spent in the last year that isn't really being used. And it does speak to the sort of like power that Arsenal are up against here.
Yeah. Arsenal, of course, at Fratton Park later on today in the FA Cup third round. OK, let's talk.